Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2019 NYC Outward Bound Schools Gala. My name is Jasmin Almonte, and I will be your MC tonight. I'm a senior at Washington Heights Expeditionary Learning School, known as WHEELS, an NYC Outward Bound school. For those of you who aren't familiar with NYC Outward Bound schools, let me tell you a little bit about this amazing organization, which works with more than 70 public schools in 5 boroughs. WHEELS is a part of a citywide network of public schools that NYC Outward Bound Schools operates in partnership with the city's Department of Education. All of the schools in this network use the National EL Education Whole School model. In addition to providing coaching and professional development to teachers and school leaders in implementing the EL model, NYC Outward Bound Schools delivers character building and leadership development programs to students like me, and also offers us extensive supports that help us prepare for, enroll in, and complete college. The on-time graduation rate of the schools in this network is 88%, which is 12 percentage points above the city average. And last year, 98% of seniors were accepted to college. I am more than proud to announce that I have personally been accepted to attend Smith College in the fall with a full policy scholarship. Tonight, we are honoring Pamela and Gifford Miller, and I'd also like to acknowledge this year's dinner chairs, vice chairs, and the board of directors for their amazing work. Can everyone mention, please stand and be recognized? NYC Outward Bound Schools has an effective educational approach that helps students like me be so successful. It is an approach that joins together demanding and engaging learning with an emphasis on community and character. Throughout tonight, I, along with other student speakers, are going to make sure that you understand exactly what that looks like and why it works. I want to tell you my own experience with demanding and engaging learning, which, as I mentioned, is a critical part of our educational approach. Twice a year, my school has intensives, during which regular classes are suspended, and students choose a single topic to focus on for a week. Last year, I studied Afro-Latinidad in my intensive. Afro-Latinidad, I learned, is a term used to describe the cultural identity of Latinx of full or partial African descent. I chose the Afro-Latinidad intensive because race really interests me, and I wanted to learn more about myself and my background. I had always identified as Hispanic, but had never given much thought to my African roots. This intensive offered me an opportunity to really explore my own relationship to race, while also learning about the history of Afro-Latinidad in America. The first day of the intensive was the beginning of an uncomfortable but exciting journey. My teachers, Ms. Nieves and Mr. Morales, gave us a prompt to get us going. Write about the first time you became aware of race. Let me tell you, that was really an intense prompt. And when the other students in my class and I shared our responses, it became clear to me that in many ways, race really is just a social construct, something created by us, not nature. This theme stayed with me throughout the intensive. During the intensive, we also learned about Langston Hughes, who wrote about Black America during the Harlem Renaissance, and later became a celebrated social justice hero. But did you know that when he was a student, his teacher told him he wasn't going to amount to anything in the future? She said he wasn't going to be successful because of his dark skin complexion. That right there upset me. What does skin color have to do with how successful a person can be? What does race have to do with how hard somebody works? It made me wonder if people ever make assumptions about me and my future because of my skin color. As you can see, I tapped into some strong feelings during the intensive, and so did many others in my class. We also visited the Schomburg Center for Research and Black Culture, a research library and archive for information on people of African descent worldwide. An image that stood out to me in their historic photo gallery was one of a family of 4 who were not smiling for the photograph. They seemed upset, hurt, not in the mood, and angry at life. Reflecting on what I had been learning about the challenges for Black Americans, I could understand why they weren't smiling. They were Black and were at a disadvantage. Just like Langston Hughes experienced when his teacher told him he'd never be anything. They were considered an inferior race, and they were always made to feel less than. And their experiences as Black people were dismissed. So many people had been written out of history, and it's places like the Schomburg Center that are trying to put them back. Even though this photo was about 150 years old, I felt connected to it because I knew many instances where my family, peers, and I were put down because of our appearance and race. When the intensive was over, I couldn't stop thinking about everything I had learned. I didn't just explore the history of my country and my city. It was also my family's history and my community's history. I wanted to learn more about myself and where I come from. So, I applied to go on the Wheels' annual trip, which was headed to Peru to study Afro-Latinidad and the African diaspora. I was so thrilled to be accepted, and last spring, I was headed to Peru. For months before the trip, the other students and I had weekly meetings with the chaperones to learn about Peruvian culture, the lifestyle, the community, their struggles, and history. Our teachers also challenged us to come up with our own questions to explore during our time in Peru. In case it isn't clear to you yet, this was not a vacation. This was school, but with better weather. The question I wanted to explore was, does racial discrimination against Black people exist in other countries too? My question was answered immediately when I arrived to Peru. I didn't see any Black people in the capital or any evidence of their roles and impacts in Peru. We had to go all the way to the city of Chincha, 3 hours away, where it seemed the Afro-Peruvian community had been relegated to finally meet Afro-Peruvians, who shared a bit about what it means to be Black in Peru. You might be wondering why I'm telling you about my intensive and the trip to Peru. And there's so much about the trip that I'm leaving out. Well, remember what I said about NYC Outward-Bound Schools' educational approach? I think that my experience is an excellent example of demanding and engaging learning. My teachers pushed me with difficult texts, assignments, and writing prompts. This wasn't easy stuff. But I completed these assignments not because it was mandatory to do the work, but because the topic was relevant to me and who I am.